Hello everyone and welcome back to Cities by Steven. You're talking to Steven. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, get that bell notification on too so you don't miss out on a video. Welcome to the start of a new series. We are playing on the map Oracle Lake from the Pedestrian and Promenades DLC. And welcome to the city of Oracle Valley. Now, this series is set on the Pacific coast of Canada, and we'll be using themes from that area while building our city and the region as a whole. As we pan over on to what is the starting tile, I went through an extensive process of selecting the proper boreal theme map for this series, and I'm really happy with the selection. It has a lot of really unique features that I'm excited to build on. Now, this episode is not going to be the start of the series build. This is kind of the trailer for it. We're going over the map, we're going over the mod list, we're going over the asset list, and we will be starting the series on Friday. Now, I am really excited for this series because this is the accumulation of our journey across Canada. When I started the channel, we started off with an East Coast Canadian themed city. We went to Quebec, then Ontario, then Alberta, which is another ongoing series that we have right now. We're taking a break for that for this series because we are going to start this series and stick with this series for a little while. So now we've come to the Pacific coast of Canada and we've completed our journey across the country. All right, so here we are looking at what would be the starting tile for this series. Well, we are going to be playing with the 81 tiles mod for this series so that we can build anywhere on the map, but this is what the starting tile would be on Oracle Lake if you opened up the save yourself, and this is also going to be where we will be starting the series. However, we are going to open up 81 tiles now so that we can check out all the cool features of this map. All right, so now that we have all 81 tiles unlocked, let's take a look at the cool features of this map. So let's start off in the starting tile, and we have this area here where we have some water flowing from over here into the river, and then into the larger sound, and into what is the ocean. So that is a really cool feature, along with this lookout tower slash castle right over here and a lighthouse over on this side. I think this section over here makes for a really unique feature onto itself. Moving into this open space, this is really suitable for building a city right off the bat. So this will be our starting town, and I think this will be kind of like the historic town of the series. And then I would imagine that the larger city would probably appear over on this side. I think that would be really cool to do. And then we have the pre-built highway kind of flowing through here, and it comes into this Vanilla T Junction interchange. So this is something that we will upgrade relatively early on, because this is not exactly a very functional highway, is it? So same thing with this one here, not exactly functional. So we will upgrade these over time. So this definitely gives us a lot of room to play, because we don't need to keep an interchange. These ones are very replaceable. On this side, we have Oracle Lake, or what I assume is the lake of Oracle Lake, where the map gets its name. So it'll be really fun to do something unique with this lake. It also looks like we could get it to flow out into the river, but perhaps that is something that happens in, the winter with some snow melt and stuff like that. The overflow of the lake flows into the river. One interesting note, though, about the starting tile is that it is positioned perfectly north. I was looking at the sunset on this map, and this is perfectly north. And so that means this is west, this is east, and then this is south. So we'll be using that cardinal direction for Earth story throughout the series. So that also means that anything straight along here will be an east-west road. The next unique little feature that I'm going to point out is this little bay here. Very well detailed. I really enjoy how this looks. This island is really unique, and I like how the river flows around it. Moving past the bridge, we go up the river here, and we come over to a beached tanker. So I would imagine that larger boats can flow up this river, which is why the bridge is so high over here, along with the fact that this is probably thematic that larger boats would have come in here originally, up the river here a little bit. But you go past these two wonderful islands, and we start seeing the rail line that goes alongside the river. This is a very common practice on the west coast of North America, and turning back around, I would love to explain to you an idea that I have right away, which will start right here. We're going to branch the rail off from here and bring it right along the coast, continuing that theme, and we will bring it right up into the starting tile where we will have a frontage with the rail, which is very, very common in the setting of our series. So moving on to over here, we have a bit of a bridge here over what I assume would be a bit marshy of land. It also probably would have some snow melt from the mountains coming down here into this lake over here as well. So that is something that we could play with in the future as well. There's also an interesting little standing stone structure atop the lake. There's a secondary lake over here with a old pier, so that is something that we could do. And then there is an old structure over here as well. Looks like a castle, but I don't think there's many castles in part of the world where we are setting our series. So over here we have an abandoned factory, and that's not the only abandoned factory. If we swing down the highway and we connect up with this rail line, there is a secondary rail line that splits off over here, which looks abandoned. It's beside an abandoned town over here, or homestead, but we follow it up and there is another abandoned factory. So that is something that we can play with as well. And that while there are many other unique features on the map, like this abandoned building over here, or cemetery, one cool feature that I want to point out is over on this side, along what would probably be the ocean coast. It's very well detailed and broken like a real coastline, and I think this would be something that we can definitely incorporate well in our series. So let's look at some of the maps. We have the topography map, and yeah, this coastline is really nice. I really like this whole section here because it's relatively flat, and it reminds me a lot of the areas south of Vancouver. But we come up to this larger mound, and we have these large mountains. Great topography here. But we come down into the valley of Oracle Valley, and there's a lot of buildable land. The factory is a bit elevated, so that's something pretty unique here. The starting tile is relatively flat, and then over here as well, it could lead to some fun challenges with this peninsula. There's also this really unique area here, which I definitely envision to be a nature reserve, of course, and I think this would be a really unique asset in our city. Looking at the wind on the map, it's fairly windy, especially along the waterfronts and then atop the mountains as well. So that's something that we could incorporate in our area. The starting tile is, there is some wind right away as well, around by the lake. Not sure if that would be the best spot for a wind farm, but it works. One of the features of this map that really drew me to it is the abundance of salmon along the river. This is very thematic. Salmon is very common in the Fraser River Valley, which is kind of where I'm going to be taking a lot of the themes from. That is the valley where Vancouver, New Westminster, Coquitlam is in Canada. So I thought the presence of salmon was very interesting. There's also shellfish and anchovies, along with some tuna. All right, so now we have gone over the map. Let's talk about the asset list that we will incorporate in this series. So I don't have many assets from the Steam Workshop that we will be using for the series, but some of the assets that I will be using are sports assets. I've downloaded some fun plazas that we can incorporate in little areas of our cities, along with places of worship and other buildings that I think would be seen as being in the vanilla game onto itself. So let's take a quick look at some of those assets. One other feature that I've brought in to play is I brought in all the Snowfall DLC assets so we can include them as well. So some of the quick ones that we can look at are all of the Snowfall DLC assets. So while some of them don't look good, like the skating rink, because it's summer in the theme map that we're playing on and the ice doesn't really work, but some of the ice sculpture parks, the ice sculpture park, for example, works really well. We just place a road down. We can take a quick peek at how the Snowfall assets work. It just looks like some statues, really. So I think that would be a good item to incorporate into the series. So some of the other assets that we're going to be using, you've seen in other series that I've had, like the baseball diamond, for example, the basketball, the soccer field, but I've incorporated some other assets from Larry Skylines from the workshop. I will link their stuff down below, and Larry Skylines also has a YouTube channel as well. But there are some awesome plazas, and I think that this would go really well with some of our builds. So I downloaded them from the workshop. Amazing little plazas, and I think that really adds a lot to saving time on detailing and really adding a lot to our detailing projects. So I've also got some places of worship, some parking lots. Parking lots are huge. Definitely really enjoy all these parking lots that we have from the workshop. So I have a bunch of different styles and shapes that we'll be using throughout the series. I won't be bringing in new vehicles or anything like that, or new building themes other than what is currently in the game. But that is pretty much it. I also will be using stuff from every single content creator pack and DLC. And then in the unique buildings, we have like the hockey rink, which is really fun. That's a great Snowfall asset that we can incorporate. It looks great in the summer. It doesn't have to be used in the Snowfall DLC maps only. It looks good in any map. So those are the assets that we will be using. But let's take a quick look at the mods. All right, so what are the mods that we will be using in this series? Well, let's start at the top. We've already talked about the 81 tiles mod. The 81 tiles mod is an excellent mod. It allows you to build on all 81 tiles of the map, but it also allows you to do a few other things. So I currently have enabled that electricity will transmit without power lines, and that electricity will transmit along the roads. So this means that I don't need to be building power lines everywhere. It saves a ton of time, and also the look of areas around power plants. Next we have Achieve It, which allows me to still get achievements even though I have mods enabled. Advanced Stop Selection is a great one for mass transit. It allows you to really be much more picky with your selections on your stops. This is a new one. We have barges. I figured if we're doing a themed city where there's tons of water, I think barges could be a fun addition. So this mod will allow us to build barges. They basically work in they kind of work like ferries, but they transport goods from area to area, so we have to set up their routes. So we will work on that in a little while. Next, we have the Better Road toolbar. Now, this one is excellent for sorting the roads into different and better systems, like this. We have all our pedestrian roads, our 1 unit wide roads, our 2 unit wide roads, but 3 lanes plus, our 4 unit roads, our 4 unit roads, but with 5 lanes plus, industry, rural. Oh yes, so I'm using some road assets as well. Nothing new if you've watched the previous series, Fort Prairie. So we got country roads, highways as well with different lane capacities. The bike lanes are broken up, the bus lanes, the tram, the trolley bus, and the monorail, along with interchanges, road conditions, which has some parking lot stuff in it, toll booths, and the bridges and piers as well. Let's go back to the mods list. Next, we have the BOB mod. This is one of my favorite mods. It allows you to, say, remove a tree from a building that you don't want. For example, the helicopter buildings from the fire safety department or something like that. It's a little interesting that there is trees on the helicopter pads. So I've actually already removed them apparently. So you go Alt B and you go into the trees here. And yeah, I've already removed them. You can see them pop back up. So, you know, a helicopter pad area without trees on it makes a ton of sense. Next, we got the building spawn points mod. This mod is a ton of fun, especially when using and building the unique factories. Bulldoze it. It deletes abandoned buildings without me actually having to go through and deleting them. The cinematic camera extended is what we used to create that cinematic at the beginning of the episode. Compatibility report. This is some behind the scenes stuff. The elevated stops enabler allows you to put transit station stops on elevated tracks. This one is also some back channel stuff. Extended managers. This is also some back channel stuff. Extra landscaping tools is the tool that allows us to build with some fun different shapes. Really allows us to be picky with how we want to, you know, do some terrain challenges. Allows me to undo things really quickly. Fantastic addition. It also enables the surface tool, which is great. Allows you to paint pavement, grass, dirt, but we'll get to that later on. Find It is an excellent tool. It allows me to kind of search for any asset I want or any building on any building size as well. If the building that we're looking for is a 4x4, a 4x3, a 4x2, a 2x1, we get to search it through this. First person camera is something that we'll use throughout the series. It allows us to go into a first person view. The forest brush, definitely very useful. I've already created the forest brush for the series based off of the maps, or based off of the trees in this series, or on the map already. Harmony, some more back channel stuff. Hide It, this is an excellent one. It allows you to hide anything that you want. So we can hide the bulldozer button, for example, the cinematic camera extended button. But I use it to hide the birds because they're really difficult to deal with when building sometimes, especially if they fly right across the screen when I'm recording, because that wouldn't make for a great episode. But it also allows us to remove sprites. Sprites are the little grass details that could pop up when you zoom up really close to the ground, but it takes up a lot of rendering, so I take them off for the sake of my computer. Next, we have the intersection marking tool. Very useful for building highway interchanges. It allows us to create some fun detailing on that. The loading screen mod is a back channel mod. Move It, probably the best mod in the game. It allows us to really be picky with where we place things. Here's Move It. We can grab a tree and just move it anywhere we want. We can even copy the tree and place it. We can select a group of trees and place them anywhere. We can select a tree, a road, and a building and copy it. It is fantastic. Also allows you to undo anything that you've done. Very, very useful tool. Next, we have the network anarchy. This allows us to build our networks any way we want. We don't need to adhere to the vanilla placement rules. Network multi-tool, probably my second favorite mod in the game. It allows us to be really, really picky with how we slope things. If we want to add in an extra node, if we want to run a road parallel, that is absolutely perfectly done very quickly. An excellent tool. Very, very good, especially when used in conjunction with the node controller. Allows us to really manipulate individual nodes in the game. Optimized outside connections is another excellent mod. Allows us to optimize the connections that we have to the outside world. So that is where the roads kind of run off the map. It really helps us with the traffic. So we can disable some dummy traffic, which it looks like we already have done, but I might disable this. Parkify. This is another really great one for building parks. It allows you to build parks or use assets from the parks in different fashions. Parking lot snapping. This one is in conjunction with some of the parking lot tools. The patch loader, that is behind the scenes. The picker mod, another fantastic mod. It's right here. Say I don't want to go searching for the tree. I can just quickly select the tree and it brings me right to it itself. There it is. But also, say I am playing with a few different road types, I can just choose from my most recent selections. Next is Play It. This is a good one for if we want to, it's right here, look at what the city looks like at night, which I think we will do a bit more often than we have in the past. Also allows us to play with the weather as well. Precision engineering, this allows us to really be precise with our road placements. Prop anarchy, render it. This allows me to manipulate how the game looks for you all. Same with RM crossings. This one is in conjunction with a couple other ones. It's in relation to intersections. Surface Painter is a fantastic one. This one is one of my favorite mods as well. We touched on it earlier. It allows us to draw in pavement anywhere we want. So if we want to detail something up, we can do that. TMPE, Traffic Manager President Edition, a classic mod that everyone uses. It allows us to really play with the traffic and make the vanilla game work the way we want it to. Traffic Transfer Manager is a newer mod for one that is no longer around. It allows us to manipulate and function our industry areas better. Tree Anarchy allows us to place trees wherever we want. Unlimited outside connections allows us to create connections out of bounds as often as we want. Watch It is right here. So these are some icons like power, water, sewage, garbage, etc. And this allows you to keep an eye on me when I'm playing. It also is helpful for myself. So if I do see that we're running out of power, then we can fix it. So it'll go green if it's green, if we're good. It'll go yellow if we're getting to the edge of our limits, and then red if we have not enough capacity. So it's a useful tool if you're curious about the state of the city. It also kind of works with this one here. This shows us that we have 2 road connections that aren't complete, along with 1 power issue and 1 water issue. That is this building here. And the final mod is the zoning adjuster mod. This allows us to play with the zoning on roads. So if we don't want zoning on this road, we can just delete it. Remove the zoning. Very simple, like that. All right, folks, so that is the trailer for the upcoming series, and I am very excited to get going with episode 1 in Oracle Valley. I hope you are as excited as I am about this series, because I'm really looking forward to it. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Peace out.